All right. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your comments, brother. All right, y'all. Great show tonight. Very controversial as usual, and we're going to bring it to a close. Sergeant Williepete, I'm giving you the floor to make your last comments for tonight. Thank you for being on the show, brother.
All right, thanks a lot. I don't even know where to start. The problems in the black community are economical. The way that people behave and that people want to say, the spiritual people want to claim that this is out of sync, that is out of sync, the spirituality is wrong, the DNA is wrong. None of these things can be measured. Okay, and absolutely none of them can be measured. Somebody can say that they're following this faith one day, following another faith another day. None of the faiths, the vast amount of them that there are, the people, you got black Israelites, you got Muslims, you got Christians, you got Afrocentrists. None of these things have changed the overall condition of black people, and they've been at it for 50, 60 years or so. And none of it has changed our condition. The behaviors that you see coming from black people are a direct result of prolonged exposure to poverty. That's what the problem is. A lot of black people, when they talk about not helping other black people, they always want to point to, the crabs in a barrel model. Oh, they'll just pull you down. But nobody ever asked the question of who the hell put the crabs in the barrel. That's not even their natural environment if you really want to talk about nature. How else do you think crabs are supposed to behave and act while they're in a barrel? And the crabs who get out of the barrel, nobody ever has a discussion about kicking over the barrel and helping the crabs get out the barrel so that they won't be acting like crabs in a barrel, which is not their natural environment. But nobody ever wants to have that discussion. Nobody wants to ever have that conversation because it's entirely too much work. Okay, that's one of the biggest issues in the black community that I see in regards to the people who are looking at the situation on the ground, looking at it tactically and mathematically, and the people who are looking at it at it spiritually is the fact that we aren't paying attention to what's actually being used against us. Other groups are not using spiritual energy against us. We have this narcissistic attitude that we are the supreme beings on the planet. We have all this power, but yet all of this power has not translated, into anything. Our kids are killing each other in the street because, they're in the narco economy because there are no economic economies or economics that we've presented or we've created. There's this stroking that goes on between the black man and the black woman, and I know what it is. I've seen it, where the woman, she calls the black man king, and original man notice he's a king with no kingdom. His original man status is his king status. She strokes him into believing that he's in some lofty position that he's not because he doesn't possess any of the things that would actually give him the title. Then he strokes her right back, calling her the Nubian queen, Nubian princess, this to that, mother of the earth, all this other stuff, right? But yet, if you look around, like the woman called when she was talking on the show, right? She talked about the black women always being put down, or black women not being valued, or black women being abused or unappreciated and all these things. So regardless of what all these brothers may say, are they really following it up with action? Anybody can come on the mic and they can say anything. Anybody can come on and say stuff that makes people feel good. There's a lot of the business of inspiration that exists in the black community right now. There's a lot of people who have stripped the elements of religion that they like and spirituality, or they've ripped the elements of religion that they like and turned it into spirituality, which basically does two things: brings comfort and inspiration. And as long as you can give people comfort and inspiration without all the rules about what you can and cannot do, which is what religion brings, then you attract more people. And in the black community, that has become a lot of people's bread and butter. So in closing, we need to focus on the tangible things that are going to get people the basic things that they need in order to actually be comfortable, not feel comforted, be comfortable. There's a difference. One is based in reality. The other one is based in a state of mind. But again, like Captain Solo pointed out, poverty is not a state of mind. It is based in economics. It is an actual condition. It is based on what you lack, which is backed against tangible items like money, which you can actually count and go into a bank account. But until black people, I don't know how we went from Mansa Musa, kings and all the gold that people want to point to that African had, to now all of a sudden we don't focus on money at all. So gold is never going to come into our sector because we're just so magical and we're just so spiritual and up in the clouds. But yet, I hear brothers running around talking about nation building. But yet, when I ask them the question, I say, where's your military? Where are the weapons that you don't manufacture? Where do you have all these things that you're going to actually be able to challenge the militaries and the might of other nations that actually have these things? Going back to what Cap Solo said, there's too much of this, our DNA and magical stuff, that we think that we're actually going to be able to challenge the groups who've put us in this position, and that's not going to happen. And just my last point in reference to people's opinions, I don't mind people sharing their opinions or giving their opinions. What I've noticed about black people and opinions is the black people who are dogmatic about their beliefs do not like their beliefs or their opinions to be held up against the light of scrutiny. They don't like that, whether it's a belief or whether it's their opinion. They don't like it to be held up against the light of scrutiny and actually be analyzed and broken down. They want people to respect their opinion, but that they don't accept the reality that not all opinions are equally valid. If somebody wanted to, should we sail by wind or should we sail by motor? One person can make an argument for sailing by wind. Another person can make an argument for sailing by motor. But at the end of the day, one person should win out that argument. Now, it may be a situation where there's compromise and there's an exchange of ideas. Oh, I didn't think about that. Let me analyze that and go back to the drawing board. But the problem is when you're dealing with two people, one person that's dealing in reality and dealing with the tangibles of the world, and another person dealing in spirituality, there's really no reason why those two people should be having a conversation, because one is dealing with what they know, and the other one is dealing with what they believe. Faith is the belief in that which you do not know, because if you actually knew it, then it wouldn't be called faith. So I don't know why people insist on bringing faith arguments to an argument where you're talking about real-world problems, you're talking about what's actually being done to you. You can see what's being done to you. There's evidence about it. There's information all over the place. But, people, they want to revert back to the comfort, what feels good, the endless buckets of hope that have been disseminated throughout the black community, to the point where people are in such a state of delusion that we cannot solve our own problems. And that's my frustration with a lot of the spiritual people, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, Brother Williepete, Sergeant Williepete, I do thank you for being on the show, and I somewhat understand your frustrations. I gear toward, I don't disrespect the principle of a woman, but I do gear toward a patriarchal society on the same level, because basically if you look at the return of the goddess and the things that they're talking about now, we had that before we got into the situation we're in now. We had that 50, 60 years ago, because the women are the maker of the homes. As long as the man go out and build and take care of his home, then the woman can be who she needs to be. And that's what we should be getting back to.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Just in terms of the people who keep saying matriarchy, what I want to know and what I want to hear, and what it sounds like, is that there are men who actually believe that men are going to go out here and do all of the hard labor that it takes to fix a community, build a community, and maintain a community solely on the principle of the black woman is God or the black woman is the universe. And any brother who is saying that, I already know what they haven't done with other brothers at the collective level in terms of all this work that needs to be done. That's why I brought up to the brother the point about Chicago, because they're not doing these things. Because I'm telling you, nobody's going to get up 5 o'clock in the morning, go build something, okay, maintain it every single day, right? The other person is not there. They're just standing there in all their awesomeness because the woman's womb is amazing and she's this God. I'm not to disrespect the woman, because men are supposed to protect and provide for the woman. Yes. But the idea, the concept that a man is going to go out there and and do all of these things, and that she's going to guide it and she's going to direct it. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. It doesn't happen with any other man on the face of the planet. And it's not happening with us. It just simply won't happen because it's entirely too much back-breaking work to have somebody else think that you're gonna go out there and you're gonna establish something and then put their name on it and then have them come through and not just have 50% say, but 100% say, simply because of their being. That is no different than white people who believe that they are superior solely for no other reason than they are white. At least when Hitler was running around with his white supremacy and the belief that white people were better, he actually had an army. He actually had the Nazis behind his racist beliefs. But black people, we run around, the black man is God, pyramids of Egypt, and the Sphinx, and the original man, right, which we wouldn't have even discovered if it wasn't for some white archaeologist that was digging up bones. We didn't discover that. But we run around with our original man. Our original man status alone is going to defeat white supremacy. And that's why we fail, and that's why we continue to fail, and that's why we're in last place like we are right now.